Hi, Scott Long here, and I'd like to introduce you to our new Z-Series vintage spec humbucker voice pickups. These humbucker voicings are based on our legacy juicy and throaty pickups. They're wound lower to match vintage specs, and also they incorporate the individual magnets for each coil that the Z-Series uses, which gives them an extra measure of clarity from the magnetic decoupling compared to our legacy series. Here we can see a list of some of the more popular aftermarket PAF style humbucker pickups, and you can see that the resistance ranges from about 7,500 to about 8,500 ohms, and the inductance, the more important measure, ranges from about 4 to about 5 henries. The primary thing we're trying to do is match the inductance of these pickups. What that does is it matches the frequency response, because the inductance of the pickup is the primary parameter that defines the position of the resonant peak. The capacitance also has a lot to do with it, but in the case of a guitar rig in practice, the dominant capacitance is the cable. So once you load a pickup down with a cable, pickups with similar inductance end up having similar resonant frequencies. So here we can see the impedance versus frequency curves of a few vintage level output PAF style humbuckers. These curves were generated with a load equivalent to a 500K volume pot and about 15 feet of low capacitance cable. And the resonant peak is basically the peak impedance in the curve. So you can see that all of these curves peak between about 3 and 4,000 hertz. And they all have a similar shape to the curve. If we superimpose the vintage spec Z-Series bridge humbucker, we can see that it sits pretty much right in the middle of the range of these conventional humbuckers. Compare that to something like a juicy bucker, which has higher winds and higher inductance. You can see that the resonant frequency is shifted down. And in fact, the juicy bucker has a response similar to something like a Seymour Duncan JB humbucker, for example. The Z-Series humbucker neck pickup uses a different pole piece than the bridge pickup, and the lower eddy current effects in this pole piece yield a higher Q and a somewhat peakier frequency response compared to the bridge, and also compared to conventional humbuckers. And it's this higher Q that gives that neck pickup some added clarity and less muddiness. And if you compare that frequency response to a single coil voiced pickup in the same output range, in this case this is our Z-Core Mod 5, which will be available shortly, you can see that in fact the throaty bucker really is kind of in between conventional humbuckers and a single coil, and that's why we like to say that the throaty is kind of a hybrid approach, and we find that it works out really well in the neck, again because of that extra clarity. So that's all great, but what does it sound like? That's the important thing, right? So this is a pretty clean setting, about as clean as my Ziggy Superfly will get. Just with a little variation in pick attack, that bark just jumps right out. Now here's the neck middle at the same amp setting. Now here's the neck at the same setting. Here's the bridge, a bit crunchier. Here's the neck middle, playing some similar stuff. Now here's the neck. Now finally, I want to go out with a bit of one of my favorite pieces. This is on the neck bridge position through my black-faced Vibrochamp. Enjoy, and thanks for watching.